Lori, hey, how are you?
You owe me money.
So Euphoria is finally back. Season 3, episode 1 just dropped. And honestly, there's a lot going on beneath the surface that I don't think people are talking about enough. Like, yeah, the plot is wild. Rue's smuggling drugs across the border. Cassie's doing whatever that was. But Sam Levinson packed this episode with symbolism that actually changes how you read every single scene. So, let's get into it. Symbol 1, the Jeep on the border fence. Okay, so the very first thing we see in Season 3 is Rue's Jeep stuck at the top of a border fence. And I know it looks insane, but this shot is not random. Think about it. The car is tilting back and forth, right at the top. Not over, not back. Just stuck. And that is literally Rue's entire life as an addict summarized in one image. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. She can never fully cross over to the other side, whether that's recovery or rock bottom. She's always teetering somewhere in between. And then what does she do? She just gets out and walks away. Leaves the car sitting up there. Which is so Rue, right? That's been her pattern since Season 1. When things get stuck, she doesn't fix them. She just abandons them and keeps moving. Some people also pointed out that this is a meta-reference to the show itself. Euphoria spent years stuck in production hell, unable to move forward or go back. So that teetering Jeep? It's kind of about the show too. Symbol 2, the spaghetti western vibe. Now if you notice, the whole episode had this very different feel. Big open desert shots, that twangy, almost Ennio Morricone-style score by Hans Zimmer. That's completely intentional. Levinson is basically saying, we're not in the suburbs anymore. Because in Season 1 and 2, the claustrophobia of East Highland was the whole point. Everyone was trapped in this small world. Everyone knew everyone. Everything collided. But now, the open, desolate space of the American West has replaced the nightmare claustrophobia of suburbia. And in classic westerns, the frontier always means the same things. Lawlessness, moral ambiguity, and reinvention. There are no rules out here. Rue isn't a troubled teenager anymore. She's a lone outlaw in the wilderness. And that shift in setting is Levinson telling us the stakes, and the world have completely changed. Symbol 3, the Christian family and Rue's faith. This one is subtle, but honestly might be the most important thing in the whole episode. So Rue is on a drug run. She has literal fentanyl balloons inside her body. And she stumbles onto this warm, kind, simple Christian family in Texas. And something about them just gets to her. By the end of the episode, she's talking to her sponsor Ali about God, and she's listening to the Book of Genesis on audiobook. Which is huge if you remember Season 2, where Rue flat out rejected the idea that her dad died for a reason and that God had a plan. Now, sitting in the same diner, with the pouring rain as a deliberate callback, Rue chooses to embrace faith. The symbolism here is the contrast. She's carrying poison inside her body, living a criminal life, and yet she's reaching for something pure. It's like the show is asking, can someone that deep in darkness still find their way to the light? And for the first time, Rue seems to think maybe yes. Symbol 4, the William Tell apple scene. Okay, this is the big one, the ending, and there is so much packed into this one scene. So Alamo finds out the drugs Rue delivered were laced with fentanyl and one of his girls died. Instead of just killing Rue, he puts a green apple on her head and shoots it off William Tell style. And Rue survives. On the surface, it's a power move. But symbolically, this is both a literal life or death gamble and a symbolic test of faith, the central theme running through the entire episode. Rue had just been talking about God, about signs, about believing something bigger is guiding her. And now here's the ultimate test. Does God actually believe in her? The apple itself is important too. In the Bible, the apple is the fruit of the Garden of Eden. It represents temptation, sin, the fall. A green apple specifically means something unripe, not yet fully formed. Just like Rue's faith, brand new, untested, fragile. And then the William Tell legend. The original story is about a man forced by a tyrant to shoot an apple off his own son's head. The key word is forced. Rue has no choice here, just like she's had no real choice since addiction took over. She's always at the mercy of someone more powerful. But surviving the shot lets her believe God is on her side. The problem is, Alamo is clearly enjoying the psychological torture, and he might be even more dangerous than Lori. So is this God saving her? Or is it just luck? And is Rue starting to confuse the two? Because she doesn't cry or pray after surviving, she just laughs, maniacally. That laugh says everything. Symbol 5, Cassie as a dog. Alright, let's talk about Cassie. Because that scene where Nate comes home and finds her dressed in lingerie with dog ears, a tail, and a nose, eating from a pet dish for her OnlyFans content, is not just there to be shocking. The dog imagery is intentional. A dog performs for approval. A dog needs to be owned. A dog exists to please. And that is exactly what Cassie has always done with men. She morphs into whatever they want, performs for validation, and waits to be chosen. The difference now is, she's literally monetizing it. But here's the dark twist. She thinks this is power. She thinks she's finally taking control of her body and her finances. And Nate's reaction, watching her, trying to control whether she can do it or not, shows the power dynamic hasn't actually changed. She's still performing for his approval, even when she thinks she isn't. Symbol 6, the full moon ending. And then the episode closes on this gorgeous shot of Rue's silhouette against a full moon. And it's beautiful, but it's also kind of devastating when you think about it. The full moon in storytelling almost always represents cycles, things that repeat, things that are inevitable. The moon goes through phases, but it always comes back to the same place. Rue remains in limbo, neither fully recovered nor fully lost. She survived the Jeep. She survived the border crossing. She survived Alamo's gun. She's still here. But the moon is asking. Surviving isn't the same as changing. And until something actually breaks the cycle, the moon will just keep rising. So that's what I think Levinson was doing with episode 1. Every single symbol points back to the same question. Can these characters actually break free from the cycles they're trapped in? Or does surviving just mean the loop starts again? If you caught something I missed, drop it in the comments. I want to know what you noticed. And if you're watching season 3, let me know what you think so far. See you next episode.